Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Delta to welcome near record number of pilots in 2020. Aspen Avionics received EASA approval for Evolution MAX, and a U-2 pilot is discharged from the Air Force for drug use. Welcome, I'm Sophie Herlock. Delta is set to hire and train more than 1,300 pilots in the next year, the largest single-year hiring event in more than 2 decades. Pilots hired in the next year will fill positions across a broad range of mainline fleet types at Delta crew bases in New York, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Detroit, Seattle, and more. The latest hiring plan is part of a broader effort to onboard more than 8,000 aviators in the next decade to backfill current pilots who are reaching the mandatory retirement age. Delta has also updated its initial hiring plan and now expects to hire at least 2,500 flight attendants in 2020, the largest number of flight attendants hired in a single year in the airline's 95-year history. To help generate a pipeline of talented pilots, Delta launched the Propel Pilot Career Path Program. The program is an industry-leading initiative that complements the traditional existing path to becoming a pilot through civilian and military pathways. The program allows Delta to recruit talented pilots at an earlier stage in their career, provide a qualified job offer to selected students, and be an integral part of their professional development. We'll be right back with Around the Patch.
There's never been a better time to become a pilot. At the Sling Pilot Academy, you can get your private, commercial, and instrument ratings in 9 months for less than $63,000 and do it in modern, fun airplanes. Your flight training is going to be as exciting as your future career as an airline pilot. slingpilotacademy.com.
Now let's take a quick look at some interesting news flying out of the aviation industry. It's time for today's trip around the patch. The U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds will be performing at the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo, scheduled for March 31st through April 5th in Lakeland, Florida. The Air Force will also be flying its 5th-generation stealth fighter, the F-35, for the first time at an air show during the expo. More than 600 guests attended the San Diego Air and Space Museum's Hall of Fame Gala back on November 23rd to see the distinguished class of 2019 be inducted. This year's class, who was a who's who of aviation and space pioneering, included Jeff Bezos, Holly Bolus, Dr. Vance Kaufman, Joan Sullivan Garrett, Robert J. Gilliland, Apollo astronaut Dick Gordon, Lieutenant Colonel David Hamilton, and Dr. Robert Liebeck. Los Angeles City Attorney Mike Feuer has filed a lawsuit against the FAA over noise from airplanes departing from Hollywood Burbank Airport. The suit demands the FAA return to flight paths that were used before the agency implemented the Southern California Metroplex plan as part of the Next Gen program. The new flight patterns take aircraft over areas that previously were not part of departure corridors. Women in Aviation International has selected Major Jeannie Leavitt, Patricia Jean Wagner, and the U.S. Army's first woman rotary wing aviators as the 2020 inductees for its International Pioneer Hall of Fame. These women will be honored at the 31st Annual International Women in Aviation Conference, which will be held March 5th through the 7th at Lake Buena Vista, Florida. The induction ceremony will take place prior to the conference's closing celebration dinner. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Today is a new dawn.
With a new name.
Un nuevo logotipo.
A new factory.
Und einen globalen Kundenfokus.
We are Continental Aerospace Technologies, and we stand behind you.
Aspen Avionics Evolution MAX series of displays have been approved for sale in EASA-regulated countries. With redesigned electronics and new glass, the Evolution MAX series displays offer a bolder and brighter display with higher reliability and several customer-requested functions, such as font and window enlargement and increased processing speed. Current and future Aspen owners may remove their existing vacuum backup system if they upgrade from a single Aspen Pro MAX PFD to an Evolution 2000 MAX system, MFD1000 MAX multifunction display, or to an Evolution 2500 system if an optional external battery is purchased. In addition, an upgrade program provides current owners of Aspen equipment the opportunity to upgrade their existing Aspen EFIS system, regardless of age or condition, and receive a new 2-year warranty. Aspen also offers an upgrade path from the EFD1000 electronic flight instrument, starting at the list price of $4,995. The E5 is upgradable to a full TSO MAX display. All MAX displays can be configured for 1, 2, or 3 units. U-2 pilot Captain Joshua Byrd of the 99th Reconnaissance Squadron was convicted in October in a general court-martial for using cocaine and distributing dextroamphetamine sulfate, a prescription ADHD medication. Pilots often use dextroamphetamine to help improve their concentration on long, complex missions, and Byrd was reportedly prescribed the drug while on deployment. He was also convicted of obstructing justice by shaving his entire body to avoid being tested for drugs using a hair follicle test. Other charges included conduct unbecoming of an officer and making connections between a civilian and a service member for steroid purchases. Byrd was sentenced to 3 months confinement and dismissal from the Air Force. And that wraps up our show for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and check us out on Twitter and on Facebook. Head over to aero-news.net for the latest aviation aerospace news any time of the day. I'll see you all right back here tomorrow for an episode of the AMA Drone Report.